Hey guys, in this video, we'll be trying to create a change control. Um, if you watch my previous video, I kind of work on the overview of a change control. What is a change control? The different type of change control. So this is the free version of Servicenow. It's available. You can download it. I'm gonna post the link. How you can download it, create an instance, and you should be able to play with it, create a username, a login, and stuff like that. So those cool stuff. So this is a standard Outlook for 2022 version of ServiceNow. Like as I said in my previous video, it's so broad. There are different type of cool stuff here, but in this video, we're going to be focusing just on how you can create a change. So this change is always like the information that you need here depends on either your Jira or either your Rally or Azure DevOps or whatever tool you guys are using in your workplace. In Jira, you see this commonly as version. When we talk of version in Jira, we simply refers to releases because you link your story just as you link your stories to X. You might link it to a sprint. You can link it to also to your version so that you should have an outlook knowing that the stories you're creating is already kind of like tied to this version that by this time you guys will be deploying. And also to do your roadmap in Jira or in Conference, you can also tie using that also here. There are three different ways you can look for a change. Either you are creating a new change, or you have a change that is already open, or you have a change that has already been closed. So if you happen now to click on this new icon here, the first thing that comes up is what type of change do we want to create? We want to create an emergency or a normal way or a normal change. Let's just say we're creating a normal change. Once we select this, now this is it says like running transaction in a few seconds. Cool. So this is a normal outlook. This is a normal way, the normal window of which a change gonna look like. There are 8 stages through which a change control goes through. From new, access. So when it comes to the access stage, the new simply means that nothing has been populated. Everything here is naked. Okay, there's nothing there, there's no information, there's nothing. And for you to create a change, once you fill in all these places, you then now need to submit. Once you submit, you need to research that particular change. And then you can complete now the change that you want to create. From now, when you are done with the first phase, it goes now to the access. This access stage simply means that the change body can then now access it. They can go through it, open everything, see that nothing is missing, everything is filled as corrected, and then goes now to authorize. Authorize simply means at the stage where you as a change owner, you are going to present this change to CAB. CAB, like as I mentioned in my previous video, simply stands for the Change Advisory Board, where they go over it, you present the change, you ensure that everything is as expected, they ensure that the risk is low, the risk can be handled, there is a backup plan, and everything is in as expected. Once the Change Advisory Body has gone through it, you have presented it, and they are satisfied, then they move it now to the schedule stage. Schedule stage simply means that you guys can now go ahead with your change. You can implement your change. You can follow the different stages now. You should be able now to go as planned. Most changes are always scheduled within their green zone. So the talk of green zone is simply a time frame through which both businesses, both the business and the stakeholders, they have agreed that you guys can go to production. You guys can go to the live environment and interject new changes. Then during the period of which the IT team is executing the change, then either you as a Scrum Master or you as an Agile coach or whoever is executing or implementing that change, you hit implement. Once you hit implement, simply means that you must have locked in the different tasks, ensure that everything is as expected, which we're going to create subsequently. Then once you are done, it moves to the review stage. To review it, ensure that everything is open as expected, everything is up as expected, everything has been closed. Then when it's been now closed now, move the change now to the close stage. If something happened for some reason, the date change or things didn't work as planned, you can cancel it. But before you cancel a change, there is this bugger sign. In this burger sign is embedded a lot of different features. So once you open it here, you can see here, you can create, you can save, you can create an outage, you can configure, you can export, and all those different type of stuff. But once you log in this change from the onset, then it's gonna go into a different stage and different features are gonna appear here. When we talk of creating an outage, what does it mean? An outage in Servicenow simply stands that users will not be able to have full access into the application. You indicate that, for example, if you're in a financial environment where they are either upgrading their ATM, they are either upgrading their system to make it more user-friendly, then they'll say, by this time window, which we're going to be doing this system upgrade, users will not be able to make good use, users will not be able to have access into this particular application. Then you create an outage, okay? Now, if you can see here, like as I mentioned in this video, this is the free version. The free version of it, you can see here that the requester is a system admin. So once you look here, the category is order. You can search down here. You can define a type of category depending on your environment. So it might be either it's a hardware something, it's a software something, whatever you guys are working on. It's networking, it's telecommunication, it's documentation, whatever. It's a system upgrade. In your environment, this stuff will exist. You will see it there that you have it. So let's say, for example, we just come and select hardware here. What is the different service that will be impacted? Let's take the software. If we select the software here, you can come now and search here. What system will be impacted? This drop down opens. You can see all the type of systems. SAP Enterprise Service, SAP Financial. It depends. So because this is a free version, we can't really narrow it down. But if you are in a real life environment where you need to know the service, especially your team, who will be executing, it might be in a financial environment, the terms will be different, but you need to understand. Let's just take, for example, we should just select our SAP here. Then you can see here the service offering. We should also come here and select the service offering. You can see here that because it was a free version, there's no similar service that they are offering here. So if we should come back, go back here, select, say, hardware, and we can now come down here. Services are going to differ again. If we should select this, then the service they are offering, still, we still have none. So you keep researching, you keep searching. But if it's in a live environment, in a real world environment, you will see that the service they are offering and the configuration item needs to be the same. You can also set the priority. This is high, this is low, this is critical, depending on the stage. If it's a normal, if it's a standard, because it is a normal change, the priority will always be moderate. Now you can assess the risk. Is this going to override anything into the production? How risky is this? How important is this? Then, for example, we can set it here. It's high, it is moderate, or it's low. Because it's a normal change, the risk is low. You can see here the impact is 3-level low. Then, most often, you need to give short description. And the short description determines whatever you have, maybe in your Jira board or in your Rally board. You might have a naming convention. Like, let's say, let's just say, all the stories for the month of October. Might be a short description. Then here can say the following. The following will be implemented by the IT team into production. Now, the reason why you are giving all this short description is because it's to give the change a validity so that once you go to CAB, you can have something valid to present. Then you need to justify. So this is the monthly change for team A. Whatever team you have, you justify. If you guys are interjecting new change, you mention that. This change is for this. You are justifying the reason why you guys are going to production. But most often here, under this justification, what you need to put here is all the stories that you have in your Jira board, those that were related to the version, those that were linked to the version that you had in your Jira board. So if you are new into my channel, I did a video on how you can create a channel and how you can link stories into that version. It's important that you can go back. I'll put a description in this video. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you watch it so they can understand. Once you justify that, the following stories. For example, you guys are rebranding a website, reducing the numbers of clicks, make it more friendly to users. You state here, the password story will be going in, because here you copy just a short description of the story, not the entire story with the acceptance criteria. No, just the short description. For example, like name change, card change, password reset, all those short stuff. Then you carry it now. Then the implementation plan. What are we going to be implementing? How are we going to implement? So like you have maybe like execute a team, execute the following changes into production. It's always good to keep it short. So once you do it now here, you need to assess the risk plan. Like we saw above here, you always indicate here the risk will always be low. And one key thing that you need to keep here will be that in case any changes, the change will be reverted. When I talk of reverted, you simply you are bringing it back to the original stage of which it was, meaning that you guys went to production, things didn't work out the way it was, then need to ensure that there is this statement. It is low. Should in case of anything, you guys gonna revert it back. Like the backup plan, have patch or rollback scripts. Most often, need to also attach all of this here. Ensure that everything is being attached to it. You get everything the way the way it needs to be, like the test plan. So like here, QA or your testers have tested everything in the lower environment. Everything has been tested in the lower environment. You ensure that the QA have tested it. Everything, they know that everything is working. Stuff is where it's supposed to be. We are just here to execute, because remember, in the live environment, the policy is do it right the first time. You don't need to mess up anything. You don't need to make any error because you are in a live environment. But IT made by man, there will always be stuff that might happen. But in case, you also need to attach rollback scripts. How do you do the attachment? You click here. This is where you attach your scripts. So you can select it once you have already saved it. You choose a file, or maybe the file is where then once you click on this, it's gonna take you straight to that area where you had selected the file. And then you need to therefore now do what? Attach it here. Same with your communication email. Always attach it here because the communication email is so important. And the key thing that you need to look here is this. Have this change number. This is what is being used to communicate that change will be going in by this time, by the IT team. This number is so important. You need to keep use of it because you always send communication email with it. So now here at this stage, you can either, because we have not yet submitted this, have two different stage here. It's either in new or in access, but here it's gonna be new. Then here, the conflict status, nothing is running. Then the conflict list run, nothing is running. One key thing about all this stuff is you must assign this change to a particular group. Okay. In your organization, you might have the DevOps team. You might also have the DBAs, the QAs, the developers. Maybe you have It depends. All the team, you need to know the team so that you assign the change to the right people. Because this change, like as I said, you presented the cap, they ensure that everything, as you assign it to that particular group, then you need to assign it now to one particular person, the person who will be in that particular deployment window to implement or execute those scripts. Once you are able to fill in this particular section, then you now come in now here and schedule it. So it's very important that you schedule this. You indicate the start time, the start date and time, as well as the end date and time. Once you click on this little icon, it opens you this. Let's say, for example, we are going to deploy tomorrow, which is Monday. Then once we say tomorrow is the 24th, then we can say this change will be deployed at 12 a.m. in the morning. Then we have already set our date, we have set our time. Then you select. Then also the end date and the end time. This will run for 5 hours. So we'll say this will end at 05:00. Then we now save it. So it's now telling us that this is 12, it can go by 5. So let's just change this date. Let's put it at 3. Now, this is now where, as I mentioned earlier, you have your cap. Cap is required. You need to select this. When we talk of cap, change advisory board, you need to go through cap. You need to present this. The cap will assess it, cap will look at it, and then they'll set their cap date. For example, let's just say cap date will be set on the 24th. Go to then here, this is now the actual time, the actual end date. Then if you know who will be presenting, who will be officiating or facilitating the CAP meeting, then you can put in their name here, the CAP delegate, indicate here. Start time and the end time, this is always done when you have already set up, when you are already implementing that particular change. Are there conflict within the system? Is anything gonna conflict? Is anything gonna held us back? Is this system that we're trying to do, is it communicating with another one that will impact us? And indicates here. So you also have your notes. So important, as you keep documenting, clicking and going at every stage in this particular change control, notes will be automatically be documenting here as you go. And your closure, this closure here is when you're already closing your change. Okay. The start of this video, I mentioned the different stages of which you move. There are stages here that all of this move. Have your new, your access, you authorize, your schedule, you implement, your review, your close, and then either you cancel. Before you close a change control, you must indicate the closure note. And your closure notes that are embedded under this closure note here, you need to select it was either successful or it was successful with issues. This is where maybe you guys executed the scripts, it didn't work out, you roll it back, the development team, they fix it, and then you guys deploy it back to production. Where there are hiccups, where the team is running into constant issues. But finally, at last, you guys get it through. You need to indicate that this change was successful with issues. Maybe the change was not successful at all. You guys went to production, stuff didn't work out. That is why I indicated here that you need to indicate this particular point. What is the plan? If things don't go as planned, there should be always rollback scripts that are available for the development team. That's why under here, there's a section here. If it was unsuccessful, what is going to happen? The key thing about this stuff is each time, depending on which of the ones you accept or which of the one that you check here, gives you subsequent, okay? It gives you a subsequent list of questions of which you need to address. For example, it was successful. You can fill here, the deployment was successful. Indicate here, the deployment was successful. If you happen to select here that like maybe successful with some issues, you indicate. Maybe you say that the deployment was unsuccessful. All depends because you keep filling them as you go. Now, once you come now back under our plan here, and once you are done filling everything here, you need to first of all select this particular change before you hit submit, because if you don't select it and you hit submit, because of the tons and tons and tons and tons of all different change control that are already in the system, you can miss this number. So it's very important that you copy this change number. Once you have filled everything based on your organization, note this is a free version where different services are in here which are not kind of like used in different ways, but in a paid version or in a company version differs. You need to respect the different systems that you are communicating with, the different systems that you are linking them up with. Then once you're done, you hit submit. Search for the change, look for it again, and then you complete the change as respected. So important that you understand different phases of which a change control moves, where you need to click and what you don't need to click. Because of this, makes change control one of the most complex things that you go through as either as a scrum master or as an agile coach or as a system admin who is just still new using ServiceNow.